how way, ay, 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 ay. How way up, how way up, ay, 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 ay. How way, ay, 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 how way, ay, 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 ay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Bridge. I'm your host, Kira Young, and you've reached me on Revolution Radio, simulcasting with Real Liberty Media tonight. It is the 27th of August, 2016, and there is the largest gathering of natives since the 1800s right now in Cannonball, North Dakota. And we're going to hear from them and what they're doing. They're fighting for all of us. So this is really important, and I hope everybody sticks around to find out what's going on. You're going to hear some information and stories tonight that aren't available, of course, in the mainstream media, because the mainstream media doesn't cover anything in Indian country. So we have the Indian media, we have native media, but even native media isn't going to be covering some of the information and stories that you'll hear tonight. So stick around. I'm going to give Mike, my buddy Mike BlueHair, a call because he was the one person that I know that answered the call when I put a call out to all of my media peers that covered the Oregon standoff to get their butts out there to North Dakota. He stepped up to the plate, so I give him full respect. Full respect. So let's talk to Mike.
Hello.
Mike BlueHair, welcome to The Bridge.
Hi, Kira. No warning. I love it. Okay, cool. We're on.
We are on. So I was just telling the listeners that you were the only one of my media peers to really answer that call and get out there to North Dakota. And so full respect. Thank you so much for answering that call. And I really want to hear about your insights and just the things that you've learned since you got there.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff. Oh, by the way, thank you. It's an honor to be here. Like, I feel lucky that I was able to get the funds to come out. And if it wasn't for my friend Sarah and a few others to help me get out here and stay out here, I wouldn't have made it. So I don't know. I'm kind of more in the mood to answer specific questions. I can't just jump into it and tell you things I've learned, but coach it out of me a little bit, Kira.
Okay. Yeah, because there is a lot. There is a lot. So I'll start with before you left. One of the things that you said to me was these are the folks that kicked Custer's ass, right? And I was like, yep. You're like, very cool.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. These are.
I thought, okay, he's going to do all right there. But where are you staying? First of all, tell us where you're staying.
Sure. I'm staying with a native family, Uŋpa Nuŋpa's lodge or their teepee with them. Just enjoying daily camp life. I can try to describe this to my anarchist friends at home. The native folks have a autonomous zone. There's no police. There's people in peacekeeping roles or people that will walk around and if people will argue, they'll talk to them, but there's no need for police and there's no need for authoritarians to bully you into behaving. People are just interacting in a respectful manner and sharing food with each other. There's a couple guys with chainsaws that help people cut their firewood. There's people dropping off firewood. A few days back, the county moved out its, infrastructure, its ambulances, and its water that it was providing people out here. But within 24 hours, various tribes donated, water trucks. There's big stacks, almost the pallet size of water beside a bunch of the porta potties. There's working bathrooms out here. So, the thing that's going on social media, it's kind of like wildfire. Oh no, they cut the poor Indians' water off and they're denying them any kind of medical assistance. It's not really like that. This is more like a mutual aid thing. where Native folks are just taking care of each other, and it's really awesome. It's really awesome.
I'm so glad that you're getting a chance to experience it, and I really wish I was with you. I really, really do. One of the things that people might not know is that there's 3 different main big camps out there. There's the Red Warrior Camp, the Camp of the Sacred Stone, and the Osheti Shikoni, where you're at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? And then you're really kind of in a smaller camp within that camp as well, correct?
Right. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of smaller camps within the camp I'm in, but yes. But we all interact. There's a common eating area by the main gate, and there's feedings twice a day, and there's snack food like cake and crackers and junk food in the common area. At all hours of the night, you can go and get coffee, something to drink, and something to snack on. And there's an open mic type thing up by the main gate, and into the wee hours of the morning, there's just person after person after person sharing their personal stories or telling stories about their nation or their tribe, and it's just a constant influx of information going on up there by the main gate. So yeah, that's my understanding of the camps. I've only gone to Sacred Stone twice, just to poke around and have a look. I've been really enjoying my conversations with Uŋpa and his family members. I have pony envy. As I walk through camp, all hours of the day and night, there's like these teenage kids riding by me all the time on horseback, and I'm like, damn it, that's my only regret here is my pony envy.
I would have it too. I would totally have it. I'd be jumping on one of those things real quick. I think that's what the American public is responding to the natives on horseback. They're very moved by it, especially that the natives on horseback facing off with the sheriff's deputies, and it's kind of the main thing that people really need to know is that these are peaceful camps. There's not like armed people walking around like it's not a armed standoff.
No, it's nothing like what went on with the whole Malheur wildlife refuge out in rural Oregon. It's not anything like that. There is one thing I'd like to clear up. I'm getting a lot of stuff on my social media, like how long have you been at the protest? How long are you going to be at the protest? Protest this and protest that. I'm like, well, first of all, it's not a protest. These are people defending their sovereign right to defend the land that they're they're the rightful stewards of. So they're defending themselves. This is not a protest. This is a holding action. It's nonviolent, but that's what I see. I don't see protest. Protest, you beg government to pay attention to you. That's not what I see going on here. I don't see anybody begging anybody anything. I see people defending what they have a moral obligation to defend, which is the land that they're the rightful stewards of, and that's what I see. I don't see any protest here.
Yes. Yeah, and that's a huge difference. This is really clarified in the videos that you've been making with Uŋpa and Nuŋpa. The history and everything behind it is made quite clear in those videos.
Yeah, I really, you know me, Kira. What I try to do is I don't spend a lot of time up there by the main gate where people are telling all the stories and stuff and their personal experiences. I always go to the core of a thing, and I always look for the part of the story that's not being told. And what I see mainstream media not doing is context. That's why I was really lucky to be able to speak with Uŋpa and able to get the history of the Army Corps of Engineers and this long, to quote the U.S. Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, but to look at Native people's long train of usurpations and look at how the Army Corps of Engineers have flooded this region, and look at how the Native people were forced basically with a loaded gun to their head as they were trying to profit from the land that was about to be flooded, and how the capital of this region, the Native capital of this region, was flooded, and how the simple fact that the pipeline project is going to be built on unceded Native land, or treaty land. I mean, all these things, I just feel really fortunate to be able to give that part of the context of the story a voice. And so, I'm quite pleased with myself. I have a little feather in my own hat and my own little ego about being able to do that. And I'm just, really happy that I could do it.
I'm really happy you could do it too. I want to get a little bit more of a sense about, you were talking, you were speaking to your anarchist friends, back home about your experience there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, would you say that there are no rulers? Or do you think people are just working together?
I think there's people that are just working together, but you can definitely see and feel people, like Red Warrior Camp has its own thing, and the AIM people seem to have their own thing. But as far as maintaining peace and a common goal, I see a common goal to nonviolence, a commitment to resisting this pipeline, but doing it without arms. I see the mutual aid I see is quite beautiful, like people sharing food, sharing rides to places. Like after the march yesterday, there was people riding up and down the road, making sure that all the stragglers, they asked every single straggler, "Are you okay? Do you need to ride back from the march?" Because it was maybe 2 miles up the road, not very far for a lot of people, but I just like the mutual aid that I see here, and I don't see one group saying we're controlling everything and you must listen to us. No, I don't see any of that, vertical integration of power here. I see a lot of doers, and then there's a lot of people kind of wandering around, waiting to see what's going to happen, because of the whole, what is it? The 9th of next month is when the judge is finally going to make a decision. So I see a lot of people milling about, kind of waiting for what's the next move to be made. But no, I don't see, to digress back to your question, I don't see one group saying, you have to listen to us. And no, it's not like that. It's more of a horizontal kind of feel.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that too. That's very encouraging. What about that the march that you had filmed? Was that the one that you were just speaking of? You did a little video of it?
Yes.
Okay.
It was that march. Yeah, it was yesterday.
Yesterday. Tell us about that and what that was all about and what people were.
Well, the no-nonsense answer to that question is I think that people, if you get a group of people that are resisting a tyranny, per se, the rumor mill starts going around and people start to get mired in negativity and, rumors, maybe the cops are going to come in and bust up the camp kind of thing. I think basically they just needed something to, improve morale a little bit and get people more unified together, and then not have so much of this rumor mill thing. I think that was part of the function or the animus behind the march yesterday. Honestly, that's my thoughts of it.
Yeah, I heard a lot of laughing and as the people passed by. Yeah. It was good.
Yeah, it was a fun march. To watch, like I said, more pony envy. There had lots of kids with red bands on their heads and arms, like riding the horses, lots of boys. They had a ceremony up by the main gate where the people, spontaneously halted the gears of the machine, as it were, to use a metaphor from the 60s. That was, I haven't seen with my eyes any Native ceremonies, and that was kind of cool. It reminded me of like a choir. It was, when I think ceremony in my head, I think something like a Roman Catholic or a neo-pagan thing where you address the directions and use a ritual athame knife, and there's lots of pauses between, Latin phrases and a lot of very exact things. But this reminded me of like a continual song, that the people were singing. It's quite different than rituals that I've seen of other cultures. It was one long grouping of songs and drums, like that was quite inspiring for me to see that and feel that. And when you look at that gate that all the nations, there's over 70 of them, 70 tribes and nations that have put up, they haven't all put up their flags, but quite a few flags. And this is the largest confluence of Native folks fighting a political fight, for something so fundamental as their right not to be poisoned, that since the late 1800s, it's incredible, really. Like, I feel like I'm being part of history, like actually seeing it. And that's a really good feeling.
Yeah, it is. This is a historic happening that's going on right now. And I think it also is the beginning of the fulfilling of probably many prophecies as well. That's just how I feel about it. I can't say, but as far as the ceremony go and the songs and the drumming and the singing, it really does connect you. It connects a group of people to sing together like that, in a way that's timeless, I guess, and very different from a Western liturgical form, or even pagan liturgical form. But yeah, I'm really glad you get to be a part of it and see it with your own eyes. Really happy for you.
It's like my whole life I've lived in planet Asshole, and I get to see an autonomous zone, I've been in other, I'll wait till you get done laughing. Well, like, I've been in other autonomous zones through the time, all the activist stuff that I've covered, and the Occupy movement had this going on for a little while, where there was no police and people were taking care of each other through mutual aid, and sanitation is being provided. This morning, this Indian kid, it was like maybe 17 or something, came by with a big trash bag, and he's all, "You guys have any garbage?" And like, we gave him the garbage, and he ran it over to the dumpster, and I said, "Thank you." He's all, "That's what I do." Just, deadpan, that's the function that I happen to be doing every morning. And it was just awesome. So there's elements of what I see going on here, that are very reminiscent of the Occupy movement, until, every movement ends up, that I've seen so far, ends up spiraling into something kind of nasty. But, like, we'll see. I have my fingers crossed for this one that it doesn't, but,
Yeah, and
so those are,
everything good is eventually co-opted, right? Right?
Oh, everything that's good is eventually co-opted.
Yeah.
And we already have, something that I'm learning, is, Native folks have the same kind of BS going on with their elected officials that we have, in the rest of the world. We have stage-managed events. You have, politicians that decry you when you do an activist action, when you do a direct action, and then, a couple days later, and they're standing there taking credit for it. I've seen that kind of stuff, since I've been here. I've seen, politicians that, thought it was a really great idea for the pipeline, and now they're all saying, no, it's horrible. So, I see the same stuff on a different level with this stuff, just being honest here. But so that gives me more of an understanding of what goes on reservations and the politics between, people of the plains here. So that's been an education for me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, big time. And why wouldn't the native politicians be just like, other American politicians? Native tribal governments are set up like little federal governments, So of course Indian country needs more anarchy too. Of course.
More anarchists, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Anarchists, yeah. Yeah. And
there's a couple of us out here, actually. I bumped into a few other anarchists, actually. Nobody that's like a super well-known name, but people that are of like mind. But, yeah. How do I bow out to go pee? Oh, that's not what I do. I just say I have to go pee. Can I tag
pass the mic?
Nuŋpa into the conversation? Yeah.
Sure thing.
All right. Okay.
Kira.
Hey, how are you? Welcome back, Uŋpa Nuŋpa.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity again, Kira, to speak on your program. As you know, I'm a regular listener, and to be a guest on your show again is a real honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I had something that I wanted to ask you about, and that is the Lakota girl who was stuck under a pond, breathing through a reed for 3 days while the soldiers camped around after having desecrated her village. Do you know her name? And can you tell us about her vision? Okay.
No, I don't, Kira. I'm not familiar with that. I've only heard that story in passing. I can't speak on it with any authority whatsoever. I'm sorry.
Well, I thought about her this morning because, and I will find out her name before this comes out, like on YouTube or whatever, because I have heard her name before. But I thought about her because of her vision. Her vision was, it used to be we had our own personal, drums, our hand drums. And then we went to the big drum, right? But her vision was that first that families would gather around this big drum, and then nations, and then all native nations would gather around the drum, and then all nations around the drum. That was her vision. And I felt like this, what's going on in North Dakota is like connected to her vision, and that, I just feel it's connected somehow.
Well, I'll tell you, Kira, a common thing or a common theme that is emerging from those who are coming is they're talking about dreams. They're talking about visions. They're talking about this nagging sense that they have to be there, so they're coming. At the cook shack, there are a few cook shacks scattered throughout the camp. Ocheti Shakoin has over 1,000 full-time now residents. And so they set up cook shacks in different areas. And near to where our Swiftbird camp is a cook shack run by a family from Oglala. And the women who are doing the cooking and cleaning, amazing women, just, your stereotypical kind grandma, with a slight smile to her face, very quiet, very humble, just serving up great food, and wanting to help, and they're there, in as good a way as they can be. It's
wow.
Every day, Kira, I said this last week, every day a few different things happen that are truly mystical, truly magical, and truly touching. Last night when the Ojibwe showed up, that was a special moment. From Leech Lake and a couple others in Minnesota, they caravanned, and Black Lives Matter Minneapolis showed up today. When
awesome.
Mr. BlueHair and I were sitting in the lodge here for the Wi-Fi signal, I saw a couple friends were sharing Last Real Indians live stream of them going up to the gate where the main protest was held. Now it went from protest to photo op. And but Black Lives Matter is on the scene. And then it was funny when they announced they were coming last night. Camp radio often is unintentionally hilarious. And they said that, well, we just got a report that tomorrow for sure 30 car caravan of Black Lives Matter protesters are coming. Or is it 30? I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. So, turns out it was just over 30 of them and not 30 carloads, but a much appreciated presence, a natural alliance, of people suffering under the same, oppressors. And we were really grateful, to have them join us. When delegations do arrive and we receive advance notice of them, they're greeted in a really fine way that will give you goosebumps. If drums are going, you'll hear drum music for the arriving tribes, like what happened with the Kickapoo the other day. The Kickapoos from Texas showed up. They were greeted with drums and the women ululating and the men war whooping and fists in the air. And as I said last week, everywhere throughout camp.
You mean northern Mexico?
Yeah, no, yeah, you threw that right back at me. Very good. Well, when I was writing that, I was in a groove. Right here, yeah. I'm tired. I shared I'm not feeling the best the past few days. And yes, northern Mexico, and then that's the type of talk that I'm not. You know how I am, and those of you who don't know me, I try and just put little things like that out there. Just to get the thinking started. And then to remind people the true history of what's called the United States of America. And little digs like that, it's not Texas, it's northern Mexico. That strikes a nerve with people. And it draws an emotional reaction right away from people. Either you find that comment amusing in the way it's meant to be, or it upsets you. And right. I don't mind upsetting people with what we call wowichake, the truth. Right. And so the entire camp is united, and as with any group of human beings, when they get together, you'll have your little squabbles or whatever, but they're meaningless compared to the larger picture, and the fact that we are all unified and united for a common purpose right now. And the plans for today, like they had that march up to the gate, and where Black Lives Matter is there, it was a simple prayer. Tonight there's dancing going on. They're starting what they call men's wellness gatherings, where they're having elders and veterans get up and talk about roles for Native American men, contemporary and old, and some are sharing their life stories. A couple of Vietnam veterans are going to be talking and focusing on the men, and the women are counseling every day too. And you're hearing young women being encouraged to learn from the elders that are there on how to run a camp. Which men could learn how to do too, and how to put a teepee together. And I'm still trying to encourage, since we have so many young people, Lakota language classes, since we have such a gathering of fluent speakers and elders, and there's other talk, talk of a library. And as I shared last week, we have camp radio, and we've got legal aid available. And every material need that a person could have in overnight camp is pretty much provided for, right down to a toothbrush or hairbrush or nail clippers, and shampoo and conditioner is in abundance. Bottled water for now is in abundance.
So the type
the
of
main
assistance,
things, as I've been discussing.
So the type of assistance that people need is things like keeping minutes on their phones,
right,
gas
exactly.
money.
And that's what happened in. Right.
Yeah.
Right. The things that you can't control, and just keeping your home away from home going.
Right.
None of us live in the camp. Our homes are for most people very far away, and for those of us who have committed long term, as long as there is conflict over this, and there are hundreds who have committed till this is completely resolved and the pipeline is stopped. We've got homes that we need to take care of. There's bills to pay back home. There are people, I know 3 people now who have quit their jobs rather than leave this camp. Now, some may call that irresponsible, some may call that whatever. I think it's awesome. And it shows a level of commitment. That one young man from Pine Ridge said, well, I was looking for a job when I found that one, and I'll find another. This is more important right now. And but for those of us who can't make that sacrifice, but those who can't make that sacrifice still have bills to pay and a way to pay them. So if people at this point, if they want to be of help, adopt a protector. You know, get to know the protectors. They're on social media. They're posting. They're saying they're there. You know, seek them out. Or if you already know a protector and they're doing well, they don't need any assistance, ask them if there's someone in camp who could use assistance. Ask someone in camp, like here, as you know, me and my sister and my daughter, our cell phone minutes are running out this week. And just coincidentally, all three of us at once. You know, we could use help getting our cell phone minutes paid for if somebody wants to help that way. And, you know, with the type of work that my daughter, my sister, and I do, when our cell phone minutes get renewed, they go to post what's happening in the camp, you know, get the truth out there, dispel some of the wild rumors that have emerged since the start of the camps, you know, and keep people informed. You know, if people want to help, they can help like that. Getting money to, you know, utility companies, help them pay for their bills, car payments, things like that. That's the type of assistance now that's needed for campers. Food, water, blankets, they're all taken care of. Firewood would be a big thing, but most people just can't produce firewood for us. So firewood's kind of like a specialized request for those who have access to a trailer and a pickup or a truck and chainsaws and that thing. If you happen to be listening to this and you're within, you know, distance of our camps, we could use firewood. Because there are so many teepees now. There's got to be at least 20 teepees up around the camp, if not more. And then in addition to all the tent campsites, you know, there is a demand for firewood. And last night it was rather chilly. Today is a beautiful day. It's supposed to stay beautiful, but as we get closer towards September here, and as we get into September, the nights are going to get cold. And we're going to need help with that if this turns into a protracted battle.
Which it most likely will, because that's what they do. I mean, that's just how the machine works. But you know, the machine doesn't know Indians. Well, does know Indians, but can't believe that Indians are real, because natives don't give up ever.
Right, tenacious.
Just
to
don't.
say the least, tenacious. A warrior spirit. Yeah, that's all there is to it. And we're getting unusual allies. Were you able to see the post or the news about the endangered species, Kamimila, the butterfly? There's a small, not the most attractive butterfly in the world. It's about 1 3/4 inches long, but just a professor, I can't remember where she's from, the details are on the internet, has discovered an endangered species in the path of this pipeline. And that is just one more, you know, arrow in the quiver for us. That 1 3/4 inch butterfly can help us stop this pipeline, because they didn't include that in their environmental impact studies that they submitted.
Wow.
And that's a confirmed story, Kira. That's not a rumor. That's true, and it's out there if you look for it. So.
Well, I got to tell you some synchronistic thing that happened to me today with the butterfly. It's payday, so I went to Costco to get supplies, and as I came out, there was a dead butterfly right by my car, and I picked it up and I looked at it, and I could feel that it had died from pesticides, you know, that had been sprayed around, and I looked at the manicured area. And I just started shaking and crying for the pollinators. And then I sort of just put it under the tree and apologized to it, you know. And then I had my little cry, and I got home, and I stepped out of my vehicle, and there were butterflies everywhere just flying around, just, you know, happy and free and unpoisoned.
Well, if I can add to that sync with you.
Okay.
3 days ago, Tashina and my niece Lacey were returning from the cook shack, and they found, I don't think it is a monarch, but it has a similar markings to monarch. It's a large butterfly, orange with white striations and spots on it, and it couldn't fly. And you could tell my sister Cheyenne, who knows these things, said it was missing a leg and one of the wings was clipped, but it was still alive. and the girls picked it up and cupped it and brought it, and it's in our lodge, and it's still alive this morning. I was looking at it this morning. I took several photos of it a couple days ago. I just haven't been near a computer to upload it yet, and I was going to tell the story of this butterfly and how the girls found it and how it's in our lodge, and there's not a lot we can do for it, but it's got its own little spot in the lodge. It's still there this morning. When I was folding up the blankets from overnight and put them away, I noticed it on the ground, and it's still there. So if you want to talk about sync, there's a little bit of sync for you. And we didn't learn about the endangered species that could be of help to us in here until yesterday. That's when that news broke for us in camp. So, like you said, a little bit of sync going on.
Yeah, that's for sure. Wow. And then there was one butterfly that was living in our hoop house or our greenhouse, and it had it's a zebra swallowtail, and one of the tails had been, ripped off or whatever. So I always knew that it was that one, and I got some pictures of that too, and it would follow me around while I gardened, for weeks it did that. So I don't know where it is now, but
well, just, like you said, just little things like sync that point to, if you are of a spiritual mind that would only confirm your being here. Like, we have a relative who is staying in camp with us. She actually left our camp for a new camp this morning, but she went seeking out some help of personal nature, and she came across a spiritual man from Minnesota, a spiritual leader, I guess, among some in Minnesota, and she learned his name was Pete Swiftbird. And Swiftbird happens to be the name of our camp, and we just named it that. Well, remember when we shared that with you? We came up with that name. Well, here she came back, and it turns out the guy who she said helped her and gave her a lot of help, that's his name, Pete Swiftbird, and he's from Minnesota.
Wow, that's incredible, and that's going to keep happening.
I know it will, Kira, because like I said, when you actually talk to the grassroots people, the ones who don't go to the cook shack, the ones you don't see on social media, they don't even have social media accounts, and when you start talking to them, that's when the real stories emerge. That's when the real spirit of the camp, and not just the spirit of the camp, but the spirit of this, what's becoming a movement, an indigenous movement, that's when that emerges. The reasons why they're there, the dreams, the visions, the calling, the need to be there. And I never put stock in things like that, Kira, but this is enough to get me thinking maybe there is something to it. And it really is a beautiful thing. When I can tell you personally, when I'm in camp and it's at night, and you look all around you and you're underneath the canopy of the Milky Way and the planets and the other stars, and they're brilliant, and there's not a cloud in the sky. And throughout the camp, smoke's rising from the tops of teepees and campfires, and you hear the music, and some of it's close and some of it's far off in the distance, the drums, the singing, the ceremonies being performed, and the social interactions going on. It's just a beautiful feeling. I only heard, obviously, the first part of the conversation from Mike's end, but I can tell you it really is freedom. It's a sense of freedom that I've never experienced in 48 years of being alive. True freedom, free from, you don't have to worry about anything except yourself, and that you are in a good way, that you are acting as a good relative to those in camp and those around you. And it's a real feeling of peace and serenity and real freedom. I'll keep using that word because that's what we're enjoying right now. How long it will last, I don't know. I don't want to question it. I'm going to enjoy it and be grateful for it now and live in the moment, and the whole while planning for the future. And then, planning for a winter camp and all that entails, and then how hard that's going to be and what we're going to need to provision ourselves if hundreds of us do end up in winter camp. And, it's just an incredible experience. I've been encouraging everyone who has the means to come, at least try and stay overnight. A lot of people are just breezing in and breezing out, and I don't think you get to appreciate it unless you spend a night or two. And then, for a lot of people, you can tell it's instantaneous. But for others, just stay a day or two, especially if you're skeptical, and it won't take long. It won't take long at all.
There's that unity that just and people, become family because you're living together.
Right.
You're living like we used to live, all together and under one, lodge.
Indeed, how we used to live. I was telling Mike a little bit about, as you know, and I'll let your listeners know, we have a group called Lakota Language for Beginners. And when part of speaking Lakota is respect. And that respect is instilled in that when you met a person for the first time, you address them as a relative in our language. So that if I was to meet you for the first time, Kira, lacking any other established relationship beforehand, I would say, how Hankashi, hello cousin. That's a male term for a female cousin. That's how I would greet you. That's the type of respect that exists in the camp now. That's the type of respect that it's not lost, but it's definitely not practiced day to day by a lot of our people who live on the reservations and the communities on reservations. That spirit exists in this camp, that old spirit, our old way of talking to one another. I told Mike, and he couldn't believe it, and when I tell people it, they really can't believe it, there was no profanity in the Lakota language, none. And, so that alone tells you a little bit about our language and the ways of addressing each other, as relatives automatically. And that lends even more credence to a rather well-known phrase, although Mike just learned it for the first time a little while ago at the dinner table, Mitakuye Oyasi. We were all related, or it means all my relations. Mitakuye means my relatives. Oyasi means everything, encompassing all. And that spirit exists in this camp right now in a way that I've never seen. And it's really special. And the only thing now that I am praying for is that we find a way to sustain this and enough of us so that it has a meaningful change today. In the moment, not in the future, but right now today, so that those who leave this camp, they carry that with them. I was in Eagle Butte getting supplies yesterday, Kira, firewood and some other things. And I had a feeling much like I did after getting done sundancing, a real disconnect to the world that was going on around me, because it was like, especially during the Sundance, I was in a different world for 4 days, in a better world, a calmer world, a more peaceful world, a more meaningful world. And I had that same feeling when I was in town going into the stores, and those of the people who knew I was up here, they would come up and ask me, how's it going? How are you doing? I had a cousin of mine give me $20 for gas, and I tried to refuse it, and she insisted, and she said she wished she could be there. And while I'm talking to these people, it's like, you really don't know what it's like, and you need to come. And that's why I keep telling them, go, just go. You're lucky you're so close, and from Eagle Butte, it's a couple-hour drive to get to the camps. But that's close compared to some people I know who would sacrifice almost everything they had materially just to be here. It's hard to be in the regular world after spending so much time in the camp, because that spirit that exists in our camp right now, Chete Shakoni, Sacred Stone, and the other smaller ones, does not exist beyond that camp. And we need to work on bringing that back, because like you said, to begin this, that's the way it used to be, what the Lakota call Ihani, a long time ago. And people of a traditional mind speak with a longing and a reverence and a remembrance for Ihani. A long time ago, the way things used to be, or the way things used to be now, are alive and well in Ochete Shakoni. And if you missed that, if you read about it, if you learned about it, if you dreamt about it, it's here now. And if you can get here, get here. And you'll be taken care of after that, and you'll help. Come with the mind that I can help. Bring what you can to the table. Bring whatever it is that you have to bring to the table, bring it. Whether it's your knowledge, whether it's material things, whatever. Bring it, because we need it.
Wow. I want to come so bad. I know
you do. I know. You'd be in your element here, Kira. You really
would be.
I mean, yeah. And knowing what I know about you, it's just, the good vibes, good feelings, and trying to avoid negative energy, and trying to deal with negative energy in as calm a way as possible, and what negatives are, because, we're human beings, and we've got our relationships with each other, and sometimes they're not always the best. The thing is about being in this camp, you want to try and temper it, and you find yourself saying, I need to temper myself. I'm not going to raise my voice. I'm not going to say the harsh word. I'm not going to start using profanity. I'm going to talk in a calm way, in a reserved way, in a good way, so that I'm not misunderstood.
Yeah, and that a lot of people are saying, who haven't been there, or they're just like, oh, it's reminding me of Wounded Knee, and I'm like, you know what? It's so much different from Wounded Knee
it's
too.
Night and day.
Yeah,
Night and day.
The exact opposite.
We're not harmed unless you consider utility knives that you need for cutting string and rope, and knives for cutting, meat, and hatchets and axes for chopping firewood. If they want to call that arms, well then, but they're not. We're defenseless except for our prayer. We're defenseless except for our unity amongst each other. We're gladly defenseless. When our women, stormed the work site, they had sage in their hands. That's what we're armed with. The power of our prayers, the power of our ancestors being behind us and guiding us and watching over us as we fight this fight in their name. And I often have thought of people who I've lost here, and if they could have seen this. And, and then I realized they are seeing it.
Yep.
And, my mother passed not too long ago, and she was an old AIM gangster and left the movement for her own reasons. And when became a lawyer and a judge, tribal lawyer and tribal judge, that was her way of fighting back. What's happening here, she would have loved to have seen. And you can't help but thinking about loved ones when you look at the camp. You can't help.
It feels like family. Then you want.
And it's a real strong sense of family. It is.
Yeah.
When Mike described freely giving of food, freely giving of, come and join us, come have conversation, come, where are you from? Who's your family? There's a family that started camp right across the Crazy Horse Boulevard from us yesterday, and he's from Minnesota. He's enrolled here at Standing Rock. He was with his wife and his 2 daughters, and he said he hadn't been home in years. But he read what was going on, how people are finding relatives they hadn't seen in years, and even relatives who maybe the last time they saw them wasn't in the best way. But now when they're seeing each other in camp, it's a good way. And then, what happened in the past is being left in the past for now. And, we offered them whatever help they needed. And he came over, he borrowed our hatchet. He didn't have a hammer or a mallet to pound his steaks. Told him to take the hatchet and keep it if he needed it. And said he didn't need it. And that he just needed it to pound those steaks, and he brought it back. We borrowed we didn't have a serving spoon not too many days ago, and Guala family camped the other way from us, gave us whatever utensils we needed. And as soon as we got our utensils, we cleaned theirs and returned them to them. And, it's that type of spirit in the camp. You need a cigarette, and you just ask someone for some Changli, Changli's tobacco. They gladly give it to you.
Are there like a Nipi set up?
Yes, there's 2 that are fairly out in the open near the Red Warrior camp, and sweats are going on there any time of day or night. All you have to do is Opagi, offer tobacco to get a sweat going. And there's a couple others besides those that are off on their own a little bit. There's other ceremonies from other nations being performed. Water ceremonies were performed that I didn't go to because I haven't been feeling well. I've been kind of, when I'm not been driving around trying to get supplies, I've been sticking close to our teepee. And, but something's happening all the time, Kira. And that is something that was lost too. And I briefly touched on this with Mike, and I got to thinking about it after he had left for the night. I was alone in the teepee with the campfire, and how much was lost when they did what they did to us when the reservation periods began. How much spiritual knowledge was lost. I read these old accounts of the first ones who came upon our people out here. Ceremonies were done all day and all night. And how many ceremonies were lost when they crushed us, when they forced us underground. I talked to Mike about the Hiawatha Indian Asylum in Canton, South Dakota, and Kira, you could do practically a whole show about that lost chapter of history. where at the turn of the 20th century, they created this insane asylum for Indians that was open for, I think it was 31 years. And over 350 Native men and women were sent there. And after an investigation by the Bureau of Indian Affairs itself, they determined most of the people sent there were not mentally ill. They just didn't want to give up their traditional ways. And they were on the reservation saying, we need to maintain our traditional ways, rejecting colonialism, rejecting Christianity. They sent them off to an insane asylum to die. You know, and 121 of them died there. And they're buried in a common grave between the 4th and 5th fairway on the Canton City Golf Course now, because the federal government sold the property that the Hiawatha Indian Asylum was on for $1 to the city of Canton, and they built a golf course. You know, it's things like that that are all part of this here now for me, and to tell stories like that of what they did to us and bring up the spirit of resistance. And
yeah,
talking about Hiawatha the other night really put me in a frame of mind. It really did. What got lost? What got destroyed? Bringing it back the best we can. Mm-hmm. These camps are bringing it back. You know, and with the other, it's awesome meeting these people from these other nations who haven't lost their language either. You know, that speak fluently. So many Lakota. You know, Lakota now is considered critically endangered by academics and linguists, with only 2,000 first language speakers left of the language. You know, it's this camp hopefully will be a way for us to get that back, and the lost spiritual knowledge.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, so many other nations, their languages are way worse shape. You know, like the Potawatomi, right. I think there's only 100 first language speakers left, probably a little less now than 100. And every nation is feeling it, and that's the whole missionary school and residential school, and that whole era was key in destroying Native culture, but it still didn't work.
It didn't work. It didn't work. We're still here. You know, all the slogans of the past few decades are being realized here and now. All the things that you would share or post or agree with, and you know, we are still here. We shall return, and you know, it's happening now. You know, and nations are rising in unity and solidarity, and it's just I hope it can sustain, and I think it will. You know, just talking around the camping, like on Wednesday, everybody was waiting for Wednesday and the court's decision, and then when it turned out to be a non-decision, on Thursday, the most common heard phrase in camp is, "I'll be back. We'll be back." Mm-hmm. I've heard it repeatedly, you know, because people were breaking camp because they do have jobs and homes to go to, and okay, so we didn't get our decision a couple of weeks. I'll be back. We'll be back. And already a couple who left have already returned. You can't stay away for long once you've been here. You won't want to. You know, as soon as you leave, you want to be back. You know, every time I've left here to go, and that's just to run back to my house and get supplies and stuff. I wanted to be back here. So,
we're going to take a quick break.
Wait to get back.
We'll be back.
See you after the break. Doksha.
Welcome back to the second hour of The Bridge with Kira. It's August 27th, and we're talking right now to Nuŋpa, who is in one of the camps there at the No Dakota Access Pipeline protests. And we're getting into history, and we're getting into the feel of the camp, and all kinds of discussion here. And I really want to thank all of the listeners that are out there listening to this. I feel like America is behind the natives. None of us want this. We don't want these pipelines. None of us want this. That's a fact. And I have yet to meet somebody who doesn't support you when I tell them what's going on. So welcome back, Nuŋpa. And
Kira, I'm kind of playing
Blue.
a joke on you. I was quietly sitting there giggling as you were addressing, me as him. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have did that to you.
Welcome back, Mike BlueHair.
Hi.
Hi. So,
I would like to chime in. You said nobody wants this, and I'm sitting here multitasking. I have adult ADHD, so I have to. But my friend Tara Incognita just informed me that she asked me if there's any kind of food I need or any supplies that I need, because the activist community of Portland, Oregon are organizing a supply run from Portland to the camps out here.
That's awesome.
Just to give you, I just got this message myself. They're going to send a few vehicles and pack them full of stuff like camping gear and food and stuff. So that's not uncommon, man. When I go up to the kitchens every once in a while just to take a brief peek and maybe use the bathroom or walk past the main gates to get a better Wi-Fi signal, there's an influx of people of all manner, race, and social classes. I mean, you'll see like a car come in that's beat up. It looks like something you would imagine sitting on any reservation, and it's got one bag of groceries. And then you'll see like maybe 3 or 4 really nice, expensive vans pull in, and they're like some church group or something bringing in food. Or you'll see vehicles come in that are marked with the tribal markings, of the particular reservation that they're from, bringing in supplies. But it's constant, and it's people from all walks of life, poor people and rich people. And nobody wants these pipelines and the way that the government and the corporations that actually run the government would like us to just go ahead and bare our necks and acquiesce to the boot being laid on it. But people have had enough. I mean, even the people that aren't willing to come out here and camp or aren't willing to stand in front of the machines like those brave women did, they're willing to support with material. And armies, this is a non-violent army, but it's still a fight, and armies fight on their stomachs, But I'm just really inspired by all the support that I see for this, and I'm really proud of my Portland community, sending a supply train out here.
Me too. It's like, if I might interject an inside joke with my husband, it's like Intertribal Friendship House in Oakland at Thanksgiving. Because that's when all the food would come in. We would get tons of donations, and you could give away food to all the families that were members, plus put on a big, huge feast after the unthanksgiving, and people came back from Alcatraz. So that's what it's like there now. People are supporting. They're thinking of you all the time and wanting to know what's going on. It's really
with me, it's hard to get dispatches out. Or there's a whole lot of video that I've shot that I'd like to upload, but I can only come here for maybe 2 hours a day to the casino to work, and with video files, that's kind of impossible to upload maybe more than 1 or 2 videos a day. I'd like to be uploading 6 or 7,
Yeah, so you need to basically get a hotel room for a night so you can upload a bunch of videos.
Yeah. Sure. I would love to spend 12 hours editing and just, and 3 hours uploading what I've edited. That'd be really great. I'm about halfway to my goal on my WePay thing, so I think I'll make it. Or is it GoFundMe? It's GoFundMe. My GoFundMe thing.
It's a very modest GoFundMe account. I think your goal is $250 or something?
$250, and I'm about half of it. So I'll probably be able to get myself in an Airbnb or a hotel for 2 nights with that. So I'm halfway there, and I'll make it, I think.
Good.
I just got to keep pushing stuff through the Facebook or whatever. But I would love to just camp in the vehicle in the casino parking lot one night, but I'm concerned because, I'm a cop watcher. That's my specialty as a activist. I scrutinize law enforcement, so I know their tactics. I know what I know a lot about the equipment, and out in the casino parking lot, there's this mobile command unit. So they have a big trailer basically, and it's got crime lab on it, and I'm pretty sure they have the bunny suits, the white jumpsuits that the forensics people wear when they go into a scene, and they have communication gear on top of it. What police do in situations like this, I mean, when there's a large protest or a camp or something like that they need to surveil, they stop using their regular police radios and they use encrypted, communications gears. And that's what I see is I see their, digital spectrum encrypted communication. So the feds that are watching this, they're, operating out of this mobile command unit that's right here in the parking lot where you can get any Wi-Fi. And it makes me really nervous to want to camp out overnight beside this creepy federal cop shop,
Yeah, I mean, well, I think I should put you in touch with Revolution Radio. They may be able to help with, they may want to interview you and stuff like that. And I know I'm trying to read them at the same time, but let's see. Live protest live stream, is that even a possibility? Is a live stream like a technical possibility from the protest? Or let's not call it a protest.
You can get, I don't prefer to service out there at best when you walk up on a hill. So the stream would be so bad if I could connect that it would be like 4 still images and then some static and then 4 still images. It's a no-go. I mean, if I had a satellite internet connection, or a satellite phone that I could run the internet through, but that's just exorbitantly expensive to think about that.
Okay, well, we have Nighthawk who's joined us here for a minute to talk about possibilities here.
Yeah, we were at Bundy Ranch where we were up in Oregon with all of that, and we want to be wherever this kind of stuff is going down. I have a pipeline issue in my own county, but just that being said, if you can get a video signal out of there through your smartphone, it's not that hard, and I can live stream you. And we do pay a little bit. I can't pay a bunch, but we do pay a little bit to cover your expenses, so we can stay on top of this stuff. So all you got to do is get in contact with me. I don't have a Skype contact for you, but you would take your smartphone and put the Skype app in it, and then I would fire up my video system into the YouTube, and you could be there as long as you got video signal at all. I mean, it doesn't have to be terribly great, so you can do interviews.
Like I said, if I wish I could do that, but it's a no-go from the camp because it's. I've gotten 2 phone calls to connect through in the 5-6 days that I've been here so far. I've gotten 2 calls to be able to connect, and then it says 1 bar service when I call.
You're in the Badlands. This protest is all occurring in the Badlands, right?
It's all in the Cannonball River, right beside it on the reservation there. So yeah.
Right. So I mean, do you have any kind of even 2G, 3G, 4G, any kind of signal like that coming out of where when you get there where the protest is going on?
You have to drive about 5 or 6 minutes out of camp, and then you can get a signal that's terrible. You have to drive you have to drive to the casino, and I would be able to ferry people out to the casino and then interview them in the parking lot and do live streams that way.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Maybe that might be a better thing is that.
Sure, I could totally do that.
Schedule something up and, get in contact with me. You need a Skype account to do this though, so I can do this because we use Skype as our cut through. But
sure, I'll get the Skype app on my phone, and then I have Kira give you my cell number so we can coordinate this. Yeah,
don't do that
after the show.
Don't do that on air.
Yeah,
we not on air.
I can do that. I can grab people that have something to say, and do a daily dispatch, from the casino. That would be totally cool and awesome to do. And let's talk about that off air, Nighthawk, and let's get it done.
All right, that's cool. Okay, coordinate with Kira, and we'll work on this tomorrow. We'll work on this tomorrow, and then we'll try to set up kind of schedule to try to do this sometime in the upcoming week, and so we can take all of the people that are really involved in this and offer them, the ability to not only have 100,000 listeners listen to them on Revolution Radio, but the YouTube as well. So, that's
what would be amazing. Yeah,
that's what I do here.
We love you for that.
That'd be awesome. I will get the Skype app on my phone, and let's get it done. And then, hey, that will top off my weekday, and I can do all the editing I want to do probably, right. Since it's so modest anyway. Yeah, man.
Cool. And you also, here's something else you need to be really aware of, and because we've had this problem before, we've been jammed up right in the middle of something really critical, and then somebody's battery goes dead. So you need to make sure you have a backup situation set up for yourself, a backup battery.
I have 2 external batteries. I have enough juice to run my phone for about 19 hours.
Okay, cool. See, that works.
Yeah. Yeah, my 2 external batteries I brought out here.
Yeah, all the smartphone stuff, I know how to use it, but I don't even have one. I know I have a smartphone that I leave in my car. It has a grand, my smartphone has a grand active life of about 7 minutes.
Wow. Wow, that's
impressive.
You've been man, your phone might wear out. You might want to call in and, get a replacement.
Oh, no, it's just, it's in the van. The only time I ever use it is if I got to make an emergency call. So usually whenever I have to make an emergency call, I fire it up and it says, you have 7 minutes of battery power left, because I never used the thing. So,
nice.
All right, I'm going to jump off here. Kira, can you facilitate all of this, and we'll try to get all this taken care of?
I absolutely can. Thank you very much.
All right,
amazing. I'm looking forward to interviewing people for Revolution Radio.
There you go. All right. Good night.
Good night.
All right. Good night. Good night.
Woohoo! That's
100,000 listeners. I love it. That's amazing.
We're close to that right now, my friend.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Are you able to monitor that while you're on air?
Yes, we are. Yep.
Cool. Can I plug myself to your listeners?
Plug away, my friend.
Hey, so if you're interested in, anti-authoritarian, anti-police state media out there in the world, or cop watching, or, if you're curious who this guy Mike BlueHair is, just mosey over to my YouTube channel. It's real easy to find. Just type Mike BlueHair in the YouTube, and up will pop my 1,400 videos that I've done so far. Basically, I'm another derivation of the Cop Watch chapter that started in the late 90s after the Rodney King stuff and all that craziness, and the basic need for citizen accountability over law enforcement. Okay, I can breathe now. Okay. Got that out.
Yes, and I really appreciate everybody listening, and this is really, really important for all of us. And I hope that I learn something every show, so I'm sure that listeners do as well. And I'm thankful and honored to be in this position to be able to do something like this. So, and I'm happy that even though I can't be there, that I can facilitate such great things going on. So you, wow, thank you so much. Incredible stuff. So
yeah, this is history. Huh.
It is. Yeah, we can get this done, Mike. We can get it done. So I'm glad we can do this. And please, if anybody wants to adopt this family, to support them for the needs that aren't fulfilled by the camp, they are just about to run out of money on their phone. So you can message me or Uŋpa Nuŋpa, or we need to get them minutes. And
I think they have a WePay set up, don't they?
they have yes, they have a PayPal account set up to help them with those kinds of things, because they're having to keep their home fires burning at the same time that they're having to supply their needs at the camp. So let me give that out. The PayPal number for basically the lodge where you're staying is Mahto, MAHTO .Smith at yellowjackets.bhsu.edu. So if anybody can throw a few bucks in their PayPal account, that would really help them with the expenses of things that aren't provided for at camp. That would be really, really appreciated. So thanks for that.
So I'm going to tag Uŋpa and Nuŋpa back in, okay? Is that cool?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, awesome.
Hello again.
Hello, welcome back. We were just discussing with Mike, another Mike, that we are going to be setting up a live stream through Revolution Radio up at probably the casino for interviews with
Awesome to hear. Yeah, that's really good.
And we're talking about 100,000 listeners and YouTube watchers. So it'll be really great. And also we'll get out of just the native, community out to America, who really, really wants to know what's going on. America supports what the natives are doing. None of us want these pipelines. None of us want the energy grid that we have now. And we want this change. We want to see renewable energy come in. We want to see hemp legalized for all of its industrial uses. We want to live back in harmony again. All of us do. It's a common goal of all of us.
It is a common goal, and it's funny that you talk about it, because some of the more visionary ones in camp talk about growing or starting to plant our own crops. Of course, it's late in the year now, but and hemp was one of the things that was mentioned. And industrial hemp, and the potential for a new way is being laid, and whether or not we go that way as a people is going to be up to us. It's going to be up to us who know better, who have awakened, who are a little bit more enlightened into the inherent evils of the current system and every aspect of it, whether it's the government, whether it's corporations and industry, how they have just exploited us, and they've continually exploited us. Only, these aren't the old days. We are connected through social media. We are being informed now by all alternative media sources, and your program certainly, a cog in that, and what Mike does is a cog in that, and in using the internet to spread real information about real people, instead of getting the sanitized and corporate views that you get on the, through what's referred to as the mainstream media, which, I've long since given up on myself. And, hearing that news, that, we could potentially reach 100,000 people with daily updates, just, it makes me really happy. And it gives me even more hope. And I'm full of hope right now, like I never have been. And as someone who's been active my entire adult life, stretching back into my teen years, I've never felt this much hope. In fact, often, I think back to 20 years ago, before the information revolution and before we all had, computers walking around in our pockets and our purses, we were going door to door in the most desperately poor communities in the United States, and trying to turn people out and educate them. And now we have these tools that we didn't have before. And with an opportunity like this, we have to fully utilize those tools and gain allies and comrades, because this isn't just Lakota versus a pipeline or a company. This is all people. It's not just indigenous nations. It's all people. There's 17 million people relying on the Missouri River Basin for drinking water. That means there should be 17 million people opposed to this pipeline. And then all they have to do is be educated about it, and through efforts like that, your daily updates, hopefully it picks up and expands. And I'm so very grateful for the work you've done and trying to raise awareness. And I know you have it in addition to your 60-hour work weeks, providing relief to flood-stricken families.
Yeah.
It's people like you that are bringing about the revolution, of not just minds, but spirits. And with you and your husband's work on food sovereignty, our bodies too. A complete revolution, like you said, to get back to the Hani, the old days, bring the old days back. And by bringing the old days back, it just means the way of thinking, that we need to conserve, that we need to think 7 generations ahead. Those are the things that this is, really important and meaningful. And we need to do that. I apologize, Kira. I'm going to hand the phone back to Mike, okay?
Okay.
Hi, Kira.
Hey, guess who came back? Nighthawk came back. Are you there?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Hey, brother.
You had a few more things you needed to say.
Yeah, actually, hey, Mike, I've sent you I guess you've not seen them. I've sent you several messages over YouTube because that's the only contact I had. I've been wanting to offer you a cop block show over here at Revolution Radio for going on 6 months now. Apparently my messages don't get through. You just get too many. I know how that feels because, I get
overwhelmed with that. I honestly, on Facebook every morning when I wake up, it's 99 plus. And I get buried by stuff, and it's I mean no disrespect by not checking them.
I get buried.
That sounds like
I get buried too, but I'd like to offer you a show, a cop block show right here at the station. I mean, our average listener base runs from 50K to 500,000. So. That isn't me swinging feathers. That's just me saying, we're making a difference. And, I got really aware of you, right in the middle of that Oregon thing and have been kind of paying attention and I've seen, and you've been on here with Kira a few times. So, I mean, not to use Kira's show, to court you. But,
use me, baby. Use me.
Yeah. We can offer you a
sweet offer. And I want to talk to you personally on the phone about it, but I'm leaning towards yes, but I'm not 100% yet. But, yeah, I would love have Kira give you my personal cell number, and after the show we can talk. But yeah, that sounds amazing. It's an amazing opportunity, and thank you for the thinking of me. Actually,
there is a process that we use. We have this entire team of people that work on this, and it's usually not me personally that goes through this, but I will fast track you to the air if this is something you're interested in doing.
I do have an interest in it because I think there's a lot of stuff that's not talked about the way that police interact with the citizenry that needs to be. It's time for it culturally. Most of these large protest events that spark off throughout the country are the result of a citizen. More often than not, it's just a guy or a girl with a cell phone capturing this stuff on video. And I would love to try to normalize cop watching as a social norm. So many times I'm confronted with people in the street or online, and they ask me, "That's legal?" Yeah, not only is it legal, but it's considered a protected right according to the Supreme Court. So I think it's absolutely necessary that America needs to at least convict these bully cops in the court of public opinion. If we can't get past legal hurdles like qualified immunity, and if we can't get past the justice system being stacked up in their favor with things or through things like the Policeman's Bill of Rights, at least we should be creating some sort of an alternative media so that these cops that want to act like pigs, get convicted in the court of public opinion. So the opportunity for listenership like that is just amazing.
That's awesome. That's cool. And I'm offering you a 2-hour slot at any open space at my station. And all you got to do is just go through a few just kind of basic things so we can get you put together and set up your automation and all that kind of stuff if you're interested in doing it. Kira will also facilitate that, but there's a couple people that are not me that you need to kind of go through because this doesn't happen just by me. There's about 14 people literally just behind the scenes. So
I understand. I can imagine how much work it takes to do all this.
All right, cool. All right, thanks a lot. All right, Kira, the show. Sorry for taking that time from your show.
All right, thanks.
Good night.
Good night. Yeah, so there you go. You didn't know you'd get a job offer in the middle of the show, did you?
No, I did not. No. Yeah, make sure you give him my home cell number when we're done with this today.
He's already got it.
Oh, good. Okay, that was cool. Like, flattery. Like, I really just think of myself as this angry a-hole with a camera. Like, this whole Mike BlueHair as a recognizable personality is still a little unsettling for me, let's say. Just recently when I went to the, RNC to cover that, a guy saw me, he's all, Mike BlueHair. I'm like, hi, and he's all, can I interview you for my channel? I'm like, sure, man. But like the whole time I was thinking, okay, this is weird. This is really weird. Okay, I'll do it, and then I just, afterwards, they just, I'm happy that people only want to know stuff that's contextual to what I do as an activist. Because if they would ask me questions about other stuff, I would have no idea what to say, But I'm just lucky that my focus of activism is just police accountability, and usually people just want to talk about that because, I guess I'm okay at expressing those issues,
So, well, let's talk a little bit about the police accountability issues that are going on right there. In the beginning, we saw I guess it was a press conference where the sheriff of the county there in North Dakota was talking about pipe bombs and violence and all this stuff that just wasn't happening. It's not just the bullies, but it's that partnership between the mainstream media and law enforcement that puts BS out there to change public opinion. So
there's all kinds of social mechanisms for the why that stuff like that happens. The old adage, if it bleeds, it leads. If the story's more tittillating, then it's going to sell more Cheetos and feminine hygiene products, between the commercials, or between the air slots. But also, I saw this happen with the Bundy folks. There's a popular meme going on right now all over Facebook, and it's a split screen. Half of the picture shows people up here giving a power fist, and then half of the meme is a photograph of Ryan Bundy and the Bundy Ranch people out there that were armed, and it says it's basically saying there's no mainstream corporate news coverage of this, but there was of that, and they're portraying that as if it was some sort of a great inequality. And my thought about that was, you don't want corporate mainstream attention. I mean, all they're going to do is manufacture consent for a militaristic attack on these people out here. That's basically a good point. That's basically what they did to the Bundy folks. Yeah, the Bundy folks were armed, but they never threatened anyone. And you had wild accusations going on about those people. Like they were saying in the corporate media that the people occupying the Malheur wildlife refuge were slashing the sheriff of the town's tires and following his wife home from work and following sheriff's deputies to the store in their cars and, stalking them and stuff. And I don't believe any of that stuff. And they also sent out memorandum to all the BLM employees when the Malheur occupation was going on. You might want to take a vacation because some of these affiliates to the Bundy family are contemplating kidnapping BLM employees and using them to trade for leverage and stuff, and it's just freaking ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, the monetary ties between the corporate media and these oil companies would dictate that the slant that they would put out and the bias, the subconscious confirmation bias that these people would be, or the unconscious, both, because they're asleep in my opinion, but the unconscious confirmation bias of the media would be, the narrative that they would be telling about these folks would all be slanted in the direction of exaggerating all these BS claims. So I think the people out here, are getting, they're getting off lucky to not have corporate mainstream attention. They should have, they should turn to alt media, man. Like Unicorn Riot did a really great job of, reporting the initial women that stopped the machines in the first place. There's a lot of Native people out here that are just reporting on their regular Facebook walls of what they see, and I would trust the Facebook walls of the people that are camping out here way more than I would trust, a corporate narrative. So if you're, Dick and Jane at home, go on the Facebook. I wouldn't turn on ABC,
Yeah, no, I mean, and they're not going to say anything about it. But something did get through that was really good, get through to the mainstream media, and that was that Lawrence O'Donnell thing that he did, his thoughts on the whole thing, and it was very moving and very truthful. So every once in a while, something good gets through to the mainstream media. So anybody who hasn't seen that, it's that went around like wildfire in Indian country on social media because it made me cry. It was really good. So, and it's amazing. The only, it is amazing. It's the only mainstream media I've actually seen probably for the last, I don't know how long time. But yeah. So,
well, I'm scheming in my brain, in the back of my brain now. How do I take up 2 hours of time on the radio?
I'm sure that you could find a way to make it work, and he's going to offer you a primetime slot. Okay. No. I'm sorry, Kira. I'm having to talk to Uŋpa for a second. Yeah, go smoke. I can keep it. I can hold the fort on the radio. Okay. Sorry, Kira. I'm back. Okay. So you're in that sweet spot where you get a signal, and
yeah, it's the parking lot of the lodge here, the casino. It's about a 7-8 minute ride from the camps out there. But yeah, I need to get some water. I'm starting to bake in this car.
Yeah, I'm in my car too, but I have it on, so I'm polluting the environment in order to get this out.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. I joke that my truck's my mobile command unit, but that sounds very military-like, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Live from Mike BlueHair's bunker in the prairie. Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting in a car, right?
Mike BlueHair's bunker in the prairie. Yeah, you're family now,
prairie
Mike.
Bunker.
You are. You're family now.
Oh, I am?
Oh,
nice.
Yes. You cannot live in a teepee
awesome.
with people without being family, you know. Just that automatic.
Well, I've invited Uŋpa to come and live at my place in Portland anytime he'd like and come through and stay for a few weeks, you know. And he's seized upon that opportunity. So I'm going to take you up on that. I'm like, well, that's why I offered. You know, I didn't offer just to talk. You know, I want you to come and visit. Something I really love is the sky out here. I mean, in Oregon, where I'm from, it's a lot different. There's really beautiful. There's a variety of plants that you see in nature in Oregon that you won't see out here. But here, the sky is like a cathedral. Like, especially at dawn and noon, and the clouds are always different. The colors are always different. I mean, I've uploaded a couple things to Facebook that you saw, but that just doesn't do it justice. I mean, it's just amazing. It really is. The sky is just, it's better than TV, you know, way better than TV to just, you know, have a good conversation. You have a full belly, you know, you're eating like Apache steaks in a teepee, and you had a really nice conversation. You walk outside, and the twilight's happening, and the sky splits into these beautiful purples, blues, oranges, and reds, and then whites and grays from the clouds. It's just crazy awesome. It's hard to describe, really.
It sounds like you're having some pretty mystical, magical, wonderful experiences. And I'm
doing okay.
Really, yeah.
I'm understating it.
You've been quite welcome there as well. And that's another thing I want to get across to the audience is that it doesn't matter what color your skin is. You're going to be welcome when you go there. It really doesn't matter. So don't let that hold you back.
I only had one little negative experience when I was here, and somebody admonished me not to film, and I smiled and said, okay, sure, and they drove off. You know, but aside from that, no, I've not had, that's the only negative vibe that I've gotten since I've been here, you know. Yeah, I've always felt welcome the whole time I was here.
See, that's good. And I think, I feel like this is going to spread farther than Indian country, even though the mainstream's not covering it. Because the response that I've gotten, you know, from non-natives, they want to know everything. They want to know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm kind of reluctant to get back to my friends, but I have some friends on the right and some friends that are in the, you know, that know a lot of the 3% militia guys, and they're really anal about the Constitution. And the Constitution says that, you know, the American Indian folks, it's their sovereign territory, you know. It says it in there. There's, you know, so a lot of these people want to come out and defend, you know, the camps out here, but like I'm reluctant to even answer their digital communications because I don't know what the hell to tell them. I mean, I can tell them that there's no guns allowed here. So, like, how do I, you know, I guess I could say, you know, there's one thing I see that I think the camp down there could benefit from is a communication center, like really nice long-range radio communication where they could, you know, be able to communicate without cell phones. I believe the militia folks, a lot of them have that infrastructure. So I'm thinking of just, you know, telling people, if you want to come down not armed and lend logistical support, I'm sure you'd be welcome. But a lot of these people want to, you know, bring their arms. but I just see that as a shit sandwich waiting to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and like, it you know, like I just don't see this. This is not that kind of holding action. I mean, these people want to use nonviolent means even I believe that if the police brought guns out here, I think that people would resist nonviolently. That's the vibe I'm getting, you know. I think they would stand there with their bodies and just use their bodies, you know, and the strength of character and spirit. It is, I mean, that's powerful. Like, when you get to the point to where people are standing in front of bulldozers, you know, like, that's a new level of conviction, you know?
Yeah,
you don't need guns when you're willing to act in that manner, when you've resigned yourself to the fact that your physical body is you know, insignificant compared to the cause that you believe in, and that's what I see. I see that kind of spirit around here. But yeah, I, like I said, I'm just reluctant to answer them. Like, what do I say to them? And I'm thinking of articulating it in that manner. You know, people around here need logistical support, like food supplies, firewood would be a great one. And if the 3% people would want to come down here and donate and just run the radio communication equipment for the folks out here, I think that would be wonderful, because there is no cell service, you know. But if they had those radios that I see them show up with at some of these events that they show up at, I think that would help a lot.
Okay, so you're hearing it here. The best way to support. We need a better communication system there in the camp, because it's big, and yet there's no infrastructure in terms of communication.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. What else could you see to improve it?
Yeah, like I said, just logistical support. People could come down and, you know, I think the best way to get people to support this is just show it to them. If they just came down and spent the night, at least one night or two nights, and interacted with the folks out here, that would be, you know, all the support in the world, because in my mind, it would inspire folks to want to be part of it, and that's all you know, and then it's a done deal. Then people are hooked. I mean, when you see this autonomous zone without law enforcement, yet there's peace. There's sanitation, there's medical, there's water, there's a sense of community with everyone. The air's full of smiles. Nighttime is amazing, because you just walk from camp to camp and there's various groups singing, you know, like all through the hours of the night. Some of the elders are annoyed. Like I heard the elders on the loudspeaker as we were leaving the entrance to today, you know, yeah, no more 2 a.m. Singing. You know, some of us have to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning, and yeah. And I've learned a lot about this. Is something I have to say, that considering the amount of strife and heartache and horror that you know, American Indians have had to endure, there's a sense of humor that just cracks me up. It's hard to explain the sense of humor that folks around here have, but it just that's one of the most striking things about it, is the sense of humor. I mean, I'm laughing, you know, to where my face hurts sometimes. You know, and this has been really good for me, because well, as you well know, I mean, a lot of the stuff I cover, it's more like, you know, Mike BlueHair, protest war correspondent kind of stuff, you know. But this has been really good for me, and I think other people would benefit from being around the humor of, you know, American Indian folks. It's kind of therapeutic, you know.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
When I was walking in the camp the other day from getting I was trying to get Wi-Fi, so I walked out of camp, and they have these kids, teenage boys, and maybe they're 20 at the oldest, but guarding the front gate. And they just ask people if they're camping and tell them basically what the camp's about, and then send them through. But when I walked through, they looked at me and they said, "Are you camping?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're all like, "Where are you camping?" And they were like pretending to be hard with me, but you could totally tell they were not doing it in a way to scare me, right? Because there's like 4 of them, and there's just me. And I'm all, well, if you keep going down the straight main road, I'm the first TP on the right. And they're all, what he really meant was not where you're camping, but what tribe adopted you. And we all laughed,
Yep. And it's such a great thing. We have little tastes of that at powwows and stuff. We all camped together and things like that. And it's something that I get a little taste of every day too with my husband, because he's got that sense of humor, and that my whole family loves. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really glad you're getting a taste of all that. It's just beautiful.
Oh yeah, it's good for the soul. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. And you can't help but just love the people. You just can't help it. Everything. Still got a smile after everything. And welcoming, and yep, there's that family vibe. How much longer do you think you're going to be there? Do you know?
The whole thing about my home fires, I have a bunch of stuff going on where I'm weighing my worries for some of my people. There's a lot of stuff going on at home. It's not contextual to the show, but I could talk about it if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see. Okay. There's a little disagreement between Film the Police Portland and the Portland's East Precinct police station about our rights to protest there. Doesn't little matter of me standing on one of their Blue Lives Matter. I call it a gang flag, or I call it their gang colors. I was standing on one of their flags, and we were protesting out there, and Bob and Sarah were walking on the sidewalk back and forth in front of the exit for East Precinct during shift change, meaning when the officers were leaving in their personal cars. And we did that for about 3 hours, but we never stopped any of the vehicles for any length of time, quote-unquote, blocking traffic. Well, a few hours go by, and a police SUV comes out, and then they park across the street from us. And I'm presuming they were filming, trying to collect data, but they just watch us basically from across the street. Then we're done with our little protest of me dancing little Irish jigs, and I may have rubbed my butt on their flag a little bit, like wax on, wax off kind of thing in front of them. That may have happened, but no violence and no blocking of traffic, and nothing that should have lent a response like we got. So we finally left, and Sarah drives off first, and Bob and I are getting in the car to follow her because we're going to a pizza restaurant that was just 2 miles up the road. And 3 marked units just go barreling after Sarah, and Bob and I are like, oh, SHIT, we know what this is about. So Sarah, we jump in the car and start going to where Sarah is, and we get a ring from her, and she's all, I've just been pulled over by a sergeant from Portland Police Bureau. What should I do? And I'll, okay, Sarah, first of all, lock all your doors and crack your window just a crack, and ask the cop to articulate, why he stopped you, and then ask to speak with a supervisor. And then we're getting closer, and I'm on the phone with her, because there's certain rules they have to follow, especially when you're filming. And I knew, Sarah's a member of Film the Police Portland, so she was running her camera. Anywho, we pull up and I get out, and it's on my YouTube channel. If you scroll back a few videos, you'll see this entire multiple videos of this entire ordeal that lasted almost an hour. But they threatened to they charged Sarah with 4 counts of disorderly conduct and Bob with 1 count of disorderly conduct because they Portland Police Bureau claimed that we were blocking the entrance to East Precinct. The next morning, the DA threw the case out for lack of evidence, but not before we were, paraded through the paper and made to look like these a-holes that torture police. The reason why they're justifying they both took Bob and Sarah to jail over that, and Sarah's car was towed, and there's like a legal expense for that. And there's this legal extortion racket that a few private companies run out of Portland, and they're like Busted Magazine and PDX mugshots. And if you get arrested in Portland, these private companies will take your arrest picture and what you were charged with and stick it on their website. And they charge you anywhere from $150 to $200 to remove it. So so they went through that, but there was 7 cars and 2 officers per car, a huge amount of backup brought out. They threatened to smash Sarah's window and drag her out of her car if she wouldn't get out. So we're engaged in this right to protest fight with these precincts right now, and we have been informed by sergeants of Portland Police Bureau that if we would stop or linger or film on the public sidewalk in front of East Precinct and part of a private property parking lot beside East Precinct, that we would be jailed for interfering with a police officer. And I'm kind of the central figure in Film the Police Portland, and my people like James and Jeff and Bob want to go and test these limits because we believe it's unconstitutional for the police to tell us that we can't stand on a public sidewalk and protest, and anybody with any rational understanding of the Constitution and our rights would tell you that as well. You should check out the comment threads under some of my videos. People are like, you need to sue these MFers. But I have that conflict going on. Also, Portland Police Bureau's Minister of Propaganda, or Pete Simpson, or our Public Information Officer, has written statements trying to basically drum up guilt by association. There was a guy by the name of Eric Crowell. About 2 weeks ago, Crowell was hanging out in front of the East Precinct, listening to his police scanner, doing cop watch type stuff. My activist group met him about a month ago on a scene of Portland Gang Task Force had some known gang members pulled over into a parking lot of a Burgerville, and we heard that on the police scanner. So Bob, Sarah, Jeff, Bob and I, and James Peach got out and filmed that, and basically the police ended up taking one of the guys away for active warrant, and they confiscated a pistol out of the car. But,
we have reached
I'll get to this
the end.
By association thing in a minute.
We have reached the end, my friend. Yes.
Okay.
To be continued.
Well, I'll tell you the story later.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
So it's Monday morning after the show, and I've edited out the Revolution Radio bumpers. Good morning. And I just have a few thoughts to add here on the end. And that is that, we're really seeing the Council Pro measures at this point, with the No Dakota Access pipeline resistance. The whole time the sheriff of that county has been trying to make out the resistors, the land defenders and water protectors as violent criminals, and there's absolutely no evidence to support that. But this is a PR war, and since there's a mainstream media blackout on actual news about it, they're partnered with the mainstream media is partnered with law enforcement, and they will put forth any narrative that law enforcement asks them to, whether it's true or not. And we have to be vigilant as supporters. Good morning, beautiful hummingbird. Hi, sweetie. You're really beautiful. We have to be really vigilant to check our sources, not to share things that sound really outrageous. One of the things that's been shared around a bit is a story stating that the North Dakota governor has green-lighted for the so-called protesters to be shot on sight. Sounds pretty outrageous, doesn't it? Well, when you see stuff like that, check it out, because it's completely false. And it's the type of, it's CounterPro 101. It's the type of story that gets put out in the so-called alternative media, which is just more media that law enforcement creates to control the narrative. It gets put out there to scare the crap out of the people that are in those camps, so that they arm themselves, so that then when law enforcement does go in, they can say, see, we told you they were armed. But, right now there's no weapons allowed in those camps. Those are the facts. There's no pipe bombs. There are Nuŋpa, which are peace pipes, which are, the highest form of ceremony for the Lakota people is a pipe ceremony. When they say they're loading their pipes, that means they're putting tobacco in their peace pipe. It's about praying. It's not about pipe bombs. There's no pipe bombs there. Never was, never will be, unless the police themselves plant them there. The other really important thing that I would like to put across to my listeners is that the whole sentiment of it's a good day to die, that was really pushed and is still pushed by Dennis Banks, who's one of the old founders of the American Indian movement. That needs to die. That sentiment needs to die. And it needs to remain in the 70s, along with the psychopaths who created it. It's not a good day to die for them, right? It's the people who are on the ground that are going to get killed with sentiment like that. And the campers did not go there to die. They went there because they want to live, and they want their descendants to live. And they went there to fight for all of us, for the whole 18 million people that rely on that water source that they're trying to protect for drinking. So, if you want to support them, adopt one of the families that's staying there. Stop sharing bullshit, and think about the meme or the idea behind the things that you're sharing. And again, it's never a good day to die. Thanks for listening.
Kashelaya pitawa pahacha eyuha natampelo velo lakota hokshila he tinkacha eyuha natampe kashelaya pitawa pahacha eyuha natampelo Kashelaya pitawa pahacha eyuha natampelo veo lakota hokshila he tinkacha eyuha natampe Kashelaya pitawa pahacha eyuha natampelo weo lakota hokshila he tinkacha eyuha natampel tukashelaya pitawa pahacha eyuha natampelo weo